Hello everyone, welcome to this channel. I'm Senthil Rajamarthandan, your AI coach. This video we are going to see the future of AI in 2026, from calculation to creation and creation to autonomy. This is going to be a strategic guide to the AI landscape in 2026. Stay with me till the end of this video. You are going to have a lot of key takeaways and how you can take your learning in 2026. So AI revolution is a story of accelerating capability. Just let's have a quick, the understanding of this, the whole evolution of AI. Right? It started with rule-based AI. It's around 1915 to 1980s is where there are a lot of rule-based artificial intelligence we had, primarily if-then logic systems and is more of early chess bots, and then came into machine learning. It's happened between 1990s to 2010. This is where the machine started learning patterns from the data that we are providing. For example, the categorizing the email spam, the way we have the Gmail, the spam emails and all going into this email spam folder. That's something is that's handled behind the scene with the machine learning algorithms. And comes to this advanced version of machine learning, it's nothing but deep learning. That's how it started between 2012 and it's going on. This primarily the core engine behind is like neural networks. It's mimicking brain functions. So, for example, voice recognition, facial recognition, right? All those things comes under deep learning. So, like part of a lot of algorithms like CNN, RNNs, and transformer architectures, all those things comes under that. So, generative AI is the next version of deep learning. So, it started sometime between 20 to 21, and it's going on. So, this is where we have creating new contents and creating new images, videos, and all. And now comes to this latest one is Agentic AI, starting from 2023 to now on. Like we have a lot of agents development is going on. This agent is going to think, plan, and act autonomously. So, just want to let all of you know that something. No data means no AI, right? So the data is the fuel of all modern AIs. 80% of data of AI time spent on data collections. Do you believe that? It's primarily like the data collection, data cleaning, and data labeling. Because if you don't have a proper data, what else that you're going to view? What else going to make decisions? So the data is so important, and we have something start from data and algorithms and AI intelligence to make smart decisions and predictions. If the AI is the brain, data is food actually. So the format of data, if you look at the whole holistic format, structured data and unstructured data. Structured data is more of organized in a table format, like rows and columns, right? It can be a database or an Excel. It's going to query the data and analyze it and all. So that's something we have seen the relational database and a structured database and structured Excels in the past. That's what exactly comes into that. When it comes to unstructured data, there's no fixed format, and that can be from PDF or images, text or document. So the data that we are going to pull from is from all these documents are going to be unstructured. The ChatGPT was primarily trained on unstructured data from books, websites, articles, and all those other article related information. So when it comes to data supervisions, like we have something called labeled data and unlabeled data. So labeled data is each image, each document, whatever that we are going to give the input, that's going to have a tag. So it's primarily used in a supervised learning. So for example, emails marked as spam will go into the spam folders. So when it comes to the unlabeled data, it's something completely not labeled with no inputs. That means input without any output tags. So AI has to find out the patterns on its own. Is primarily used in unsupervised learning and as well as self-supervised learning. Okay, so this is the way the data coming in, going out. When the data is not proper, obviously the data what you're going to get as an outcome is also not going to be proper. Most powerful AI also will fail if the training data is messy, biased, or outdated. So the garbage that you're giving in, you'll get the garbage out with the improper informations. So we should have a proper cleaned data. We should have a diversified data, and the data should be always updated. So that's something is what, like, the way you give the garbage in, you'll get the garbage out. So we have to be really, really careful in terms of giving the data and getting the data, the right data as well. So in this whole journey, like, if you look at, like, machine learning, deep learning are the core engine of modern artificial intelligence. So we have seen briefly on the machine learning brief earlier, the machine is going to learn data to make decisions, like, explicitly. So there's something, you have to teach data to the machine. So the based on the learned data, based on the pattern. So it's all, like, can help us to make some decision properly. So there are multiple algorithms in the machine learnings, like linear algorithm and linear regressions and decision tree, random forest, k nearest neighbors. A lot of, like, algorithms that we have here. So when it comes to deep learning, is something. It's the next version of machine learning. It's a subset of machine learning. You can call it as. It primarily uses neural network to mimic the human brain and able to handle the complex task. So we have multiple algorithms, like, in this, like, CNNs, RNNs, LSTMs, and transformer architectures. So the classic examples are, like, voice assistants, like, and the facial recognitions, language translations, autonomous vehicles. These are all, like, begin the scene. If you look at, like, deep learning, neural network, all these things are part of it. So now comes into the, like, interesting part. Three distinct way of learning the data. So supervised, unsupervised reinforcement. This actually comes under mainly the machine learning. When it comes to supervised, is something A is trained with the label data. So already I talked about the spam emails and everything. It also, like, help us to, like, identify the fraud detections and, like, facial recognition as well. When it comes to unsupervised, we already talked about, like, it's not going to have labeled information. A is going to find patterns on its own, and also, like, it's going to group the customers accordingly based on their purchasing habits. That's in the classic examples. So reinforcement is, like, based on the errors and based on the trial and error method you're making it, and you will receive that the rewards or penalties, like, based on the action. So that's comes under, like, reinforcement. So it's a more of motivation. So this all comes under, like, gaming kind of activities. So and also classic example can be in the robotics and self-driving cars and game AI. Okay, so the interesting part is starts now. Like, the generative AI. The generative AI is primarily focusing creating a new content based on the patterns learned from the massive data sets. So we need a huge data centers to, like, store these data sets. The systems can produce, like, original output. For example, the key capabilities we look at, like, in the creating new content, like, text content, creating new images, create new audios and videos, and as well as, like, game related activities. So these are all, like, key content can create it. So if you look at the real world tools, like, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, and all those things, like, the content creation tool, images perspective, like, we have so many tools, DALI, Midjourney, and Leonardo AI. So many tools. Videos, if you look at, like, Sora, Pictory, Runway MX, and Flow, Google Flow, a lot of tools that we have in the market right now. And when it comes to the coding assistants, we have GitHub Copilot and Lovely and so many other tools like Code Whisperer, like, we have in the market. So now comes to the most interesting part, like the Agentic AI. It's an agent, autonomously can plan and execute the task. So basically, chase behind the goals and, like, until the goal is getting achieved, like, it goes into the circle and, like, achieve the goal. So that's something, like, system that can think, plan, and act autonomously, especially for the complex tasks and multiple activities that that human is going to oversight. So it's a combination of generative AI and agentic AI is what currently most of them are focusing and creating the applications, creating the agents and all. So the way it works, you start to have a goal and then put together a plan and take actions, and then you will see the outcome. So that's the autonomous AI agent uh, that you are seeing. So with all the things, what you are seeing is a quick summary on traditional AI, generative AI, agentic AI, with respect to all these functions, intelligence, and human input and examples. So traditional AI is, as we talked about earlier, the rule-based AI, and generative AI is generating a new content. Agentic AI is like the way it's going to plan and autonomously execute the task. So traditionally it's going to have a reactive based operations, and like generative is a more of creative, creating new content. And agentic is going to be autonomous, and it's going to autonomously can work. And human inputs is like it's explicit instruction have to be given in traditional AI, and similarly generative AI you have to give prompt based interactions, and then agentic AI you have to give goal oriented objectives. So that's the snapshot that what you're seeing, and examples you can see it in traditional AI, Netflix recommending a movie, and generative AI you have a chat GPT writing a blog, and agentic AI agent can book an entire vacation or a movie ticket on behalf of you. So the AI career revolutions, if you look at the world's top companies are not just looking for coders anymore. They are looking and hiring AI thinkers and builders and as well as creators. So it's actually eventually helping us to improve the productivity. And 35% of productivity is what's seen in the industry. And most of the industry is already adopting the AI. And we are seeing growth as well, job growth perspective. It's going up. A lot of new roles have been created. So these are the key roles, from the technical and non-technical subset of roles. I put it AI engineers, primarily focus on building and deploying AI systems. And the key skills are also mentioned here. Data scientist, and primarily focus on analyzing the data and as well as extracting insights. Machine learning engineers, that primarily focus on design and train machine learning models. NLP engineer or NLP specialist, you primarily focus on uh, language-based AI that the person is going to work on that. So we have non-technical areas as well, AI careers, AI content strategies, AI ethics officer, agentic workflow designer. These are all non-technical AI careers. So you can start wherever you are today, and with the domain experience, whatever you have, and that's going to be your edge and and kickstart that AI career. These are the four major hurdles, primarily widespreading for industry to do adoption of AI. Inconsistency and hallucinations. AI can generate completely misleading informations, and that's something if you're not training the data properly. So it actually produces inaccurate outputs as well. So similarly, if you look at building any custom LLMs, it takes minimum or it cost minimum 500,000 US dollars. So, and also sometimes if the data is not properly trained, and if you're not using the right infrastructure, it's going to make you wait for a long time for any prompt that you give and get the output. And data scarcity is another important things, because nowadays most of the models are are almost gathered all kind of information from the different sources. By 2026, 25% of generative AI models will heavily rely on AI generated synthetic data, not the actual data. That's the situation we are stepping in. AI without ethics is a supercar without brakes. So we need to focus on explainable AI. We need to focus on responsible AI. We need to have a governance and privacy to monitor and track the AI performance, and also bias to mitigation as well. We need to focus on that. This is a separate topic that we can focus on in the coming videos. But yeah, we need to have a AI ethics and explainable, make it more transparent to the vendors. The future is not only AI; it's going to be AI and human. So people have been questioning about AI is coming in, is going to take away the jobs and all the things. Is always questions are being posted wherever I go. But human has to be in the loop always, primarily to take care of some of the critical decisions. So AI can act as an assistant, but human actually should have to be focused on guiding the AI systems to take care of the activities. So ensure that human in the loop is always there in any system that you're building it. So let's not give complete control to AI and act as a human on that front. So mastering all those things, whatever we discuss, collaboration is the key to unlock your true potential of AI in 2026 and beyond. So stay with me. There will be a lot more videos in the coming days. And so I'll talk about each and every topic explained in this video, like in a separate concept actually. Okay, thank you everyone, thank you for watching, and subscribe to this channel so you'll have more videos coming in, especially on AI and traditional perspective and generative AI and agentic AI. So, and more focused on the next version of agentic AI also we are going to talk about. So thank you, let's meet again in the next video. Bye.